Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. This will be a review on the 1/4 scale Hot Toys Batman Begins figure, recently released in Hong Kong. A very impressive looking piece. Got all the accessories laid out here on the desk, so let's not waste any more time. Let's get stuck in. I hope you enjoy the review. So when reviewing this piece, it's very handy that I have these awesome books from the Dark Knight trilogy. This is the Dark Knight manual. It's got everything you need as a reference for checking accuracy and the texture of the suit, the finish on the suit, all this stuff. You can check what all the accessories really look like, and it's just insane, this book. But this is to do with the Batman Begins suit when he created it. You can see very much a kind of flat matte finish on everything apart from the gauntlets and the cape, which is very much a kind of velvet look. But here it says the bat suit. The symbol is pointless without the means to back it up. To function as Batman, I need armor protection. The suit, something simple yet dynamic, evocative, and as strong as sophisticated as science would allow. Gotham is filled with lowlifes who don't hold their punches. Batman must create the illusion that he is faster, stronger, and more powerful, even otherworldly, invulnerable. Then he must perform as such. The suit would have to do far more than shield against the elements. It would have to protect against the unknown. Absolutely badass. But yes, I'll be using this awesome book to check my reference stuff, make sure that everything is accurate. There's also this book here, which is just incredible. Has just a ridiculous amount of reference pictures and behind the scenes, everything. I wish Hot Toys would release this in 1/6 scale. That would be really sweet. Speaking of which, definitely hope Hot Toys, scale this guy down in 1/6 scale, because I would like to have a Batman Begins in 1/6 scale to go along with the rest of that lineup up there. I mean, it's great having him in 1/4 scale, but I kind of wish I had one in the 1/6 as well. Just basically scale this thing down to 1/6 and everyone's going to be happy. So we'll just address the fact of the shine on the suit by Hot Toys here. As you can see, very much just black with a shine to it all over. And in reality, the actual Batsuit itself, the suit was very much a flat matte charcoal that contrasts beautifully with the sort of velvet, the replication of kind of velvet material that they used on the film. They originally used velvet and then switched it out for kind of a nylon that they flocked with hairs to make it look like a velvet pile. But you can see there clear as day, very brightly lit. That's I think from the scene where he jumps down, where he's surrounded by the bats with the sonar device, when Gordon has taken Rachel downstairs and he's going to meet her and get her back to safety before Scarecrow's poison takes her out. But this is from that moment in the movie, and you can very much see, clear as day, a very matte charcoal finish on the suit and cowl. The gauntlets are shiny black, and the cape is jet black, which contrasts with the suit itself. So Hot Toys is it's not accurate. Simple as that. It's a very nice looking piece. Very short review. No, obviously we'll keep going. But yeah, Entebbe definitely nailed it when it comes to the finish on the suit. And unfortunately their cape was nowhere near as black as the real thing. But I did change that out and get a velvet cape for it. So that's him over there. But I'll just show you the finish on the suit. So there you go, that's what it looked like. We go over here and you can see, let me just turn this around slightly. Yeah, you can see the same exact charcoal sort of tone. This is a very matte finish, no light reflecting off this, and the black velvet material contrasts exactly the way it does in the film. So Entebbe definitely win when it comes to the finish on the suit. So we'll come back over here, but it's still a very, very nice looking piece. I mean, I do kind of like the shine on the suit. I mean, I have the Entebbe version, so I've always got that. If I want to look at something 100% kind of accurate suit tone wise. But yeah, moving on. One thing I will point out is because this Hot Toys figure is a high-end collectible, it's not a cheap piece. This was very expensive. That being the case, you would want this figure to be movie accurate, and we've already talked about the finish on the suit, but let's talk about another little detail, which is these cape clips. These are the clips that hold the cape onto the suit, and as you can see, if you pay attention to where they are positioned, right above the sort of tip of each wing here, that's where they should be. And the Hot Toys clips are way back on his shoulders. They should be right above this bit here, and they're all the way back there. So it's magnet based. There's a magnet under the suit that will connect to the actual cape clips themselves, and you can't move them unless you want to sort of, I don't know how you do it, but it's quite tight here. I tried to get my finger under the suit to try and move the magnets, but it's a very tight fit. It might be possible, but you shouldn't have to do that with something as expensive as this piece is going to be. So that is something that might bother you. It's not bothering me so much because I intend to display the Entebbe Batman as the fully, decked out Batman figure, and I probably will use this for displaying the Bruce Wayne head and the harness. But that is something you might want to bear in mind. The cape clips are way off. Again, another reference picture here just to really hammer home the point of how matte and charcoal the finish on the actual Batsuit was in Batman Begins. Just another little shot for you. Pretty different. I think Hot Toys did a great job with getting the thickness of the cowl and just the sculpt of the cowl itself really accurate, and you can see just how thick the neck is, just the bulk from the side profile, this shot here from the beginning of The Dark Knight. So very accurate there. Just the general sort of thickness from the back of the neck to where the Adam's apple is. They really did a good job capturing that. Cool little detail. Hot Toys are the only company I've seen that's done the Bat Summoner, the sonar device that hides in his boot. More of a kind of silver finish, like a black wash kind of silver, which does seem to be accurate to how they actually were in the film. NECA and Entebbe, both of those Bat Summoners were just black. So, nice little detail there by Hot Toys. They are an accurate colour. Oh, and this actually moves. See that? I didn't realise that. That actually moves up and down. What a crazy little detail. It's got moving parts on it. I did not know that until just now. This picture here will be a very handy reference shot for when I'm setting him up as this First Night Outlook, which is what I'm going to do now. Let's set him up with the balaclava, the Bruce Wayne head, the harness, and we'll see how he fares. Let's see. Very cool scene in the film. That is badass. Christopher Nolan testing out the rope or whatever the hell, the harness. That's from the scene where Batman has his first confrontation with Scarecrow and gets hit with the fear gas and then set on fire. Then he runs into the alleyway and sends himself up onto the roof, calls Alfred for help. That's really cool that Christopher Nolan's doing it himself first. His little face. Just one last little reference shot here, just to illustrate how accurate the back of the neck sculpt is on the Hot Toys figure. See the way it kind of bumps out here? It's not just like a straight line down. As he's tilting his head, you can see the thickness of the neck and how it sort of bumps out here at the back. Just like on the sculpt of the Hot Toys figure. Unfortunately, the Hot Toys figure will not tilt his head down like that or look up very much at all. There isn't really much movement in the head. But the actual sculpt itself is very accurate. What a badass shot. Now before I do switch him out to the First Night Outlook with the harness and the balaclava with the Bruce Wayne head, let's just get a really nice detailed look from head to toe. Really good likeness to Christian Bale in the cowl. No movable eyes on this figure, which is a very big disappointment because the previous 1/4 scale Dark Knight figure Hot Toys released some time ago which was the 1/4 scale Dark Knight up there. He came with 3 heads in total, 4 if you bought the exclusive. If you bought the exclusive of the Dark Knight Rises figure, you got the Batman cowl with the movable eyes, another cowl with light up eyes for the sonar head, or whatever you want to call it, the Bruce Wayne head, and also if you got the exclusive of the Dark Knight Rises version, you also got an empty cowl for him to hold in his hand with the Bruce Wayne head on. This Batman Begins just comes with this one head, no moving eyes. You do get 3 interchangeable mouth plates, and you get the Bruce Wayne head down here. So it's a real big disappointment about the movable eyes. We would have really liked to have them, especially on Batman Begins, because he's just a very aggressive look for Batman, and being able to move the eyes to the side really does, help with this particular figure. I love the fact that Entebbe gave you 3 Batman heads and 1 Bruce Wayne head, 4 heads in total. Entebbe went above and beyond. So it really does make you realize that this figure just doesn't come with as much stuff as it should. But the belt is very nice. There isn't really any difference in sort of color or finish between the suit and the gauntlets, and there should be. It's basically identical in tone, which it shouldn't be. The cape clips, really weak. I mean, you can see that's barely even on there. I have to keep pressing it down, and you can see it lift up again. It's really weak, and as soon as you touch it, it just comes away. That is frustrating, and just not very well designed. So I'm always messing with this side in particular. I have a lot of trouble. It's almost like where they've positioned the magnet. When you put the cowl on, the magnet's kind of halfway underneath this, and just a little bit of it sticking out here. So it's like the cape clip wants to attach to it properly, but it can't because of the position of where they've actually put the magnet. So the magnet should be about here, right near the tip of the wing, like I mentioned before, but unfortunately it's not. And that just won't really stick down properly, and that is a constant source of frustration for me. So it probably will be for you too. Look, see, it's already lifting up. You even touch the cape and it falls off. So I really don't like that. Major pain in the arse. The base is pretty tacky looking for a high-end collectible. I think less is more. You just want something understated and classy and sturdy, with no big obstructions in the way of where his feet are going to be planted, so that you can get whatever stance you want. So, there's nothing in the way like there was with the Dark Knight Rises base that had rocks all over the base here, and it was very hard to get him to just put his feet down flat. The bats flying around all on the front of the base, that does not seem to be removable. I remember when we saw this at the events when it was being previewed, I was hoping so much that you'd be able to just take these off. Maybe they were held on with magnets, but they're not. They're really on there. I think they're like screwed in. Someone might come along and prove me wrong later on and actually remove them, and I hope that is the case, because I'll just think to myself, right, that's what I'm going to do. But yeah, let me just turn him to the side. Yeah, really cool side profile on this one. Very thick neck, really chunky, beefy. Good proportions. The chest is definitely more pronounced than it was on the Entebbe version. But, there's hits and misses for both figures, really. But I think, to be honest, Entebbe got more things right. But, that's all down to personal taste and, personal preference. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast. Alright, I've been checking the instructions as I've been putting on the harness to make sure I'm doing everything correctly. So, good thing you get some detailed instructions with the figure. It's a bit fiddly to do, but thanks to all the adjustment straps and things like that, you can loosen things up and make your life a lot easier putting this on. So, kind of got it on properly at the moment. Just need to put the belt on again, and then stick the Bruce Wayne head on there, get the balaclava rocking, and I'll show you how he looks the first night out before he'd finished his batsuit. Now, I don't know if you're going to have the same situation as me, but I've tried putting the Bruce Wayne head on this body before in the last couple of days, and I found it very tricky to get it to pop into place. So I'm just going to do the old trick, heating up the neck joint there a little bit with this heater, and hopefully that should make life a little bit easier. Okay, that definitely did make things easier because the head went on like a dream as soon as I heated it up. So definitely recommend heating up the neck at least before you try putting this on the body, because you don't want to snap any neck joints, because I don't know how you would replace that. So there he is, minus the balaclava, which we'll put on him in a moment. It does warn you not to leave the balaclava on for too long in case it stains the head sculpt, which is a real shame, because I would actually really like to have the Ents Bay Batman displayed as full Batman and this version by Hot Toys displayed as the First Night Out. So I don't know, maybe I'll wash this and try and get out any excess black dye. But it's a really good balaclava, really nicely done. Very much looking forward to seeing how he looks with it on. I might put him on a rotating base for you so you can see him as he turns. I would say I'd take him outdoors and let you see him in the natural light, but I mean, we're right by this window here, and the natural light, it's not the sunniest day in the world, but it's definitely nice and bright. I think you can see everything pretty clearly. So we'll keep him in here. Let's put him on the rotating base and watch him turn. Alright, we got him on the rotating base. Just take a look at all the details as he turns around. The proportions are really good on the figure, I have to say. It really does seem accurate. There's how the harness works. So I'll have to take this off and put him back together as full Batman for the rest of the review. But after I'm done, I think I'm going to put him back like this and display him in this sort of style. Finally get to show off one of the Bruce Wayne heads, because I have a few other Bruce Wayne heads that came with other figures, but I always tend to display the figures as full Batman, but this one I really would like to display him like this. Shame I can't use that balaclava though full time. But yeah, let's just see, get a look at the likeness. Really good from the side profile, incredible detail, slightly wrong eye colour as usual by Hot Toys, but very good likeness to Christian Bale from Batman Begins. The hairstyle is perfect. Look at that, that's crazy realistic. The belt attaches really nicely. There's those horrible gauntlets, you saw that just then. Ugh. Why? Or at least why not just give us another set that don't have that section that comes away? It's really, I mean, as it turns, your eye goes to it. It's like, what's wrong with that? So, I don't know. Apparently it's accurate because Christian Bale in real life wanted to be able to get the gauntlets off more easily on set. So Hot Toys went the full whack and really did it, but I just think they should have given you two options. It's not really very pleasant to look at on the figure. Alright, let's get the balaclava on him. Very curious to see how that looks. Okay folks, I've got the balaclava on. I'll just pan up and let you see the First Night Out look in all its glory. And it is glorious. I've got to tell you, this looks insanely good. I wish I could leave that balaclava on full time. In fact, I might even be your guinea pig and do it anyway. And I know it warns you not to, but how could you not want to rock this look? Especially if you've already got a Batman set up in the Batman Begins look and you're happy with it. You really want to display this one as the First Night Out look. It's just really, really accurate. I mean, you know, when the balaclava's not on the Bruce Wayne head, there are people that say they don't really think it looks like Christian Bale, or they think something's off. But put the balaclava on it and just, even with the wrong eye color, it still just screams Bale. It's really, really realistic looking. I'd love to be able to just rock that on the shelf like this. Just come back, let you see that. It is really, really sweet. I love that scene in the film. Now we're two. That's an awesome look for the figure. Alright, so I just got him holding the balaclava in one hand. I've switched out the other hand to a kind of relaxed open hand, and while I was doing that I realized just how frustrating those gauntlets are. I mean, I already knew they didn't exactly look pleasing to the eye with their breakaway section there, which just, no matter what you do, Very hard to get it to just lay flush. So just to reiterate one more time, it would have been damn handy if Hot Toys had provided a spare set that didn't have that feature. But changing out the hands is actually quite easy. They come off and they go on really smooth, so that's not a very stressful thing to do, which is nice. Changing the hands on the Entebbe figure, for example, it's very tricky. I tend to have to heat up the hand area every time I do that, so I don't do it very often. But it's good to know at least with the Hot Toys version, changing the hands over is actually quite straightforward and easy to do. And that looks awesome. Very, very strong likeness to Christian Bale from the film there. It's basically perfect. You can see everything as it comes round. So I'm not sure if I used the right hand for holding onto the balaclava, but it seems to be doing the job just fine. The harness buckles and straps, I think they're actually metal. I should probably check that for you now. But yeah, I'm pretty sure these are metal or die cast, whatever you want to call them, these little sections. Let me get one of these batarangs, which I know for sure are actually metal. Let's see. Yeah, that feels... It sounds like metal to me. Either way, they're very tough, and I'm pretty sure they are metal, so that's cool. As far as what else is metal or die-cast, you got these 3 batarangs. They're all metal. This one that folds is plastic, and that does fold over all the way, and you can attach that to one of these connections that goes onto his belt. And the belt, while not being 100% accurate in color and tone to the Batman Begins belt, just quickly run over here and show you the Batman Begins belt. This is the color it should be, and the new one from Hot Toys is the same color basically as the Dark Knight version, which was a slightly lighter tone of gold bronze. So that is the color it should be. Now we'll just take a look at his accessories. I've just realized, unless I'm missing something, and I missed it in the box, which I really don't think I did, I can't see any of the little round bomb mines that he has. When he's running through Arkham Asylum and he blows that door to the cell open so that he can escape? I don't see any of those, and the NECA version came with some, the Entebbe version came with some, but I just, I thought maybe they're in here. No, that's the spare wrist pegs. So yeah, I'm pretty sure this hasn't come with any. I hope I'm not wrong about that, and you guys can always let me know once this figure comes out and you have yours, but I certainly haven't seen any little round bomb mine things that he had in Batman Begins here. That is very strange, although I do have the ones from NECA and Entebbe, so I could always use those, but that's a bit of a misstep, I think, by Hot Toys, unless, of course, I have made some kind of mistake. So anyway, here are the 3 mouth plates. You've got a neutral mouth, which I kind of like. It is a great likeness to Christian Bale, but I do prefer the Entebbe mouth plates, and if you haven't seen it already, I did upload a video where I used the Entebbe mouth plates instead of these Hot Toys ones on the Batman cowl, and they did improve the likeness even further, because the Entebbe mouth plates are very impressive and dead on to Christian Bale. The neutral mouth plate is almost ever so slightly like a subtle smile. Ever so slightly. That's debatable. Some people may have a different opinion on that one, but it's not quite the expression I'd be after. This reminds me of the swear to me moment, but it's not 100% there. It's good though. Definitely handy if you want to take some pictures in a fighting action pose. And then you have the mid-sentence, kind of reminds me towards the end of the movie, the bit where this Joker card comes into play. When he's talking to Gordon, saying things like escalation and stuff like that. So yeah, the 3 mouth plates, they are very good, but I do believe the Entebbe mouth plates are slightly better than this, and you can interchange the Entebbe ones with the Hot Toys cowl, even though you're not supposed to be able to do it. They do just about fit in there, not 100% perfect snug, but you can definitely get them in there and get away with it. So that is nice. If you have the Entebbe version, that will give you 6 mouth plates to use instead of just 3. Here are the Bat Summoners. You get 2 of them, I guess 1 for each boot. And they do clip in underneath, which is pretty cool. There is your Joker card from the end of the film. Let's see
what it says on there. You've got evidence description, playing card, place evidence found 90127, suspect unknown, offense, what does that say? So I can't quite make that out. Recovered by J. Kerr, which I think is a reference or Easter egg to someone, and signature, I think that says JK or DK possibly. Oh, DK, that's me. No. Anyway, yeah, so there's the card. Very nice little inclusion. And there it is. So I guess you could possibly have him holding that if you wanted to. Now the hands, really easy to change over like I described before. Some great variations in different poses for the hands. They seem to hold on to all the accessories really well. Some spare wrist pegs, the grapnel gun that has a moving part on the top, the refill for the grapnel gun, his little mobile phone thing. You can use this to attach onto the belt and hold the accessories on there. This, I believe, oh no, I was thinking that was going to be the little drill. The Dark Knight Rises version comes with something very similar looking to this that actually unfolds and does turn into the drill that he uses in The Dark Knight for the wall when he's investigating the scene of the crime with Gordon. But this one doesn't seem to come with that. But you do get everything pretty much you'd need for his belt for Batman Begins, plus the 3 metal batarangs plus 1 foldable plastic one. So all in all, some pretty good accessories. Not much has been missed, apart from those little bombs. But yeah, I really don't think I have those. I went through everything in the box and I certainly can't see them, so it just looks like Hot Toys didn't give you them. But that is all the accessories. And don't forget, he's obviously got the 2 hands on here, the balaclava, the harness, the belt I guess would count, and the debatable base. Some people like it. I kind of like it, to be honest. It screams Batman Begins, so there's no mistaking which film this is from. I don't mind this bit. I think that's gorgeous, and I love the intro to Batman Begins with the bats swarming like that, forming the logo, so that's really cool. On the little silver part there, it says Batman Begins, and then Batman. Like I said, it'd be nice if these were removable, but they're not. But it's not the end of the world. I kind of like it. It sort of grows on me a little bit, but I can understand why a lot of people think it would bring down the kind of the look of the piece and make it seem a little bit tacky. But it's not too bad. So there's all your accessories. Pretty decent array of stuff to use. And he looks absolutely awesome like that. Alright, so I think that's pretty much the look from the first night out covered. I hope you've enjoyed that. He looks really awesome from this angle. Very real. I mean, that's 100% dead on from that angle. Everything, the likeness, proportions, the way everything's been executed. Very, very good. Very good indeed. Alright, so let's get him set up again as Batman. Maybe do a few little comparisons for you. Let's get the 1/4 scale Hot Toys Dark Knight Rises Batman down here and see how they look together. See if there's a height difference. Right, now before I do change him back to the full Batman look, let's just get a really detailed look at the head sculpt, because I'm sure some of you will want to see this close up. Full details revealed. I mean, the eyelashes, the eyebrows, the skin, ridiculously detailed. I mean, 1/4 scale gives you that much more room to work. You know, again, don't mean to bang on about it, but the eyes should be hazel green. There is a bit of brown in there, but also a bit of green in Christian Bale's eyes. And Hot Toys, they do eyes pretty much the best out of all the companies, so I wish they'd finally get that right. I don't understand. It's not that hard to Google an image of someone's face and go, oh yeah, look, that's the eye color they have. But regardless, that is ridiculously good. I mean, just the stubble, everything. The way the hair meets the skin. Incredibly done. I mean, just look at that. I know I've seen the comments from people saying they think something's off, and you know, maybe from dead on from the front sometimes, but even now when I'm looking at it, I can't see anything but Christian Bale. That is really impressive. Just get all the angles for you. You can always pause this and then
check out still images instead. There is a slight seam going down the center there. Very subtle. I only really notice that if you get super up close, but I just can't believe the detail on the skin, man. It's really, really cool. I mean, look at the way the hair meets the neck at the back. Incredible work. That's a very, very good sculpt. Let's get him looking up towards the sky. Yeah, very, very well done. Alright. Let's just get even closer. Let's get really up in there. Look at the veins in the eyes. Look up his nose. Got a little mark on his lip there. Oh well. No biggie. No big deal. Gosh, you could really trick someone. With a bit of Photoshop trickery, you could definitely trick someone into thinking that's a real person. Very, very impressive. Yep. Alright. Well, I give top marks for the head sculpt. Absolutely. I think it's a winner. Absolutely fantastic likeness to Mr. Bale in Batman Begins. I think I might be rocking that with pride. Alright, let's change it back to the Batman look. Right, let's take a little look at the instruction manual. You can pause this and get a good... just lay this down flat. You can pause it and get a good look at what everything says. So I'll just hold on each page for a moment. You can have a read. There you go. Just various warnings. Oh, there's a magnet inside to hold that in place. That's pretty sweet. Alright. There you go. You can pause that and have a read if you wish. There you go. Weapons and accessories. Balaclava and climbing harness and belt. Some instructions for how to put the harness onto the body. Wearing the utility belt. And portions. Sharp points and edges. That's the instructions. I will just show you quickly how it looks with the Entebbe Bruce Wayne head on this body, in this look. And I have to say, I mean, this was always my favorite Bruce Wayne head out of all the ones that I owned. But it is 5 years old now, and things have come a long way. I mean, it's still a very, very good, accurate sculpt. Although from some angles it can look a little bit off, but you find the right angle and it's just ridiculously good. Again, very accurate eye color from Entebbe. Very good sculpt. But I do think the new Hot Toys one has surpassed it now as far as the Batman Begins sculpt goes. But do bear in mind the Entebbe one is actually based on the Dark Knight film, because their Batman Begins figure was from the Dark Knight movie, you know, the first act. Whereas, you know, a good three years earlier the Batman Begins happened. I think it was 3 years. Let's see, 2005, 6, 7, 8, yeah. So 2008 was the Dark Knight, 2005 was Batman Begins. But yeah, just so you can see, you can always pause that again, you guys on the Freaks. Do your little conversations about stuff. Sweet. Alright guys, now do a little articulation demo for you. And the only way I can really think to do that with a figure this size is to get behind him and get hands on. So ratchet joints in the arms. It seems to be the limit with that. Obviously you get your horrible wrinkles, so I wouldn't want to leave them like that. You can take some pictures. Obviously the gauntlets have this breakaway section here that's kind of like got elastic that holds it in place, and you're supposed to put the cape through that and then into his hand so that he can hold the cape open. So that's handy for pictures and stuff. You can turn the arm, but the rubber suit stops you from doing it. I mean, you can turn this, but like I say, the rubber suit stops it completely. ratchet joints in the elbow. Decent bend. Can we get him to hold his hands up like he's surrendering? Sort of. Not too bad. Not too bad. Hope you can see everything okay. Yep. And turn inwards and outwards. Holds the poses pretty well. Yep. Definitely the way to go when it comes to something like this. You need the ratchets because of the rubber suit is going to sort of fight against you. So that's cool. There is a crunch in the chest and here in the waist. So what he lacks in movement in the neck to look down, you can kind of fake it by having the torso sort of bent forward. If the cape was wrapped around him, or if you had a custom cape on him, you could get a pretty moody look happening with that. Obviously this is two separate pieces to the suit. You've got the bottom half and the top half. Obviously the belt would cover that up. You wouldn't see it anyway because of the cape. But he's got good movement. Not so much for turning left and right. Again, the suit's stopping that from happening. But as far as leaning back and bending forward, you've actually got quite a bit of movement there. There's like an elastic strap holding the two pieces together. So arm movement is pretty decent. Let's see, as far as if you want to get him reaching forward. So that sort of just the rubber suit fights against you, even though it could technically go higher up. The rubber suit just pushes it back down to about here. But you could, you can come up with some pretty cool poses with this amount of movement. It's not too bad at all, really, considering the suit that he's wearing. And the legs, might have to move the camera a little bit for that one. And for leg articulation, pretty decent, I guess. More ratchets. That seems to be as far as that's going to come forward. Ratchets again in the knee. So I don't think you're going to be able to get him to sort of stand on a rock, you know, like put his foot up and really stand on something, because here there's not a lot of movement there, to be honest. But there's get a decent stance, there's a good spread. So articulation on this guy is pretty decent considering, but it's not something you wouldn't want to leave him in any kind of drastic poses for very long. I mean, Hot Toys even warn you about that. But Batman Begins is really one of the most statuesque kind of figures that you'd want to pose, really. You want to get a decent cape on him and just get him in that classic standing on the rooftop Batman Begins, just cape wrapped around him. Sick. Yeah, I forgot to show you ankle articulation, but take my word for it, ankle articulation is very good on this guy. He definitely assist you in all your balancing situations. Good pivot from left to right, back to front, good movement in the ankles. As is usually the case with these high-end collectibles, there's usually something you have to watch out for, some annoying little thing that could have been avoided, but was just missed by the company. The stand, you know, it's a groin grabber stand. You've got these little grippy things on the top here, and when they touch the suit, they are causing damage. So that's always fun. Let's just pop him back on here. Yeah, so when he's all in position, you can't push the stand down any lower than this. That is as low as it will go, and they are damaging the suit. And they've already done damage to the suit, right where his junk is. The rubber is kind of marking, see that? Right up in there. Look at that. There you go. Thanks, Hot Toys. Nice one. So yeah, that situation with the groin grabber rubbing off the surface of the suit and damaging the figure, that is really frustrating. You think somewhere in R&D, a company like Hot Toys, you know, they would have just thought to themselves, you know what, if we give the figure a stand like this instead, we can avoid that problem. It would have been, that takes about 2 seconds to figure that out. But that's not what they did. They gave you this style. It just doesn't work for a figure this big. Obviously this is the Dark Knight Rises version.
but it's the same setup stand-wise. It just doesn't really hold something like this in place. You need something sturdy, and a 1/4 scale version of this would have been ideal for both Batman figures. So it's very frustrating, so just letting you know, it looks like it's inevitable if you use this groin grabber, you're going to end up with damage to the suit. Now we'll take a look at the new Hot Toys 1/4 scale Batman Begins next to the Hot Toys 1/4 scale Dark Knight Rises Batman. Very impressive piece. Came with so much stuff. Go check out the review on the channel for this figure. It's quite an old review now, but should tell you pretty much everything you need to know. So they're both on their Hot Toys bases. Obviously you have to try and make it work with the rock formation by his feet. It's quite frustrating because it's just one of those figures you wish you could just stand him up regularly like this. You've always got to have one leg slightly going off to one side and stepping on the rocks. It's a bit of a pain. Height wise, the shoulders seem to be at the same height. The Dark Knight Rises Batman is looking down slightly, but more or less I think they are, you know, give or take a couple of tiny little, you know, whatever. It's pretty much the same height. I've got a custom cape on my Dark Knight Rises Batman. I'm not too keen on the one that he came with, so I never really used it. It's cool because Hot Toys give you everything you need to set this up as the Dark Knight version, including the Hong Kong sort of backpack. They give you the sonar head with the light up eyes and a Bruce Wayne head, and this one does have the movable eyes, so I've got them looking up slightly. Really cool. Let me just see if I can show you. Two little sticks in there, you can move the eyes independently, which is pretty essential for a figure like this, especially this price range and stuff like that. And they didn't bother to do it with this version, which, you know, very frustrating. So there you go. His eyes are looking up slightly, so yeah, you're pretty much stuck with that. So there they are, side by side. Belts are exactly the same tone and color, which they shouldn't be. The the Batman Begins belt should be a more sort of, like I showed you before with the Entebbe one, so you can just go back and check that for reference. Mouth plates on the Dark Knight Rises Batman are a slightly different skin tone to the Batman Begins version. Batman Begins seems a little bit more pinkish in color, a little bit more pale. The Dark Knight Rises a little bit more, not tan, but just a different tone, different shade. Very nicely done though. The mouth plates that came with the Dark Knight Rises, I got no complaints about those. It's just having the Entebbe ones to compare to this. I do prefer the Entebbe mouth plates when it comes to the Hot Toys Batman Begins, or the Batman Begins look in general. But it's a very strong likeness, regardless of that. Now I'll just let you see the Hot Toys Batman Begins next to the Entebbe Batman. You can really see the difference in the color and tone and finish on the suit itself, and the color difference between the belts. So the suit is more accurate in finish and tone on the Entebbe. This is Entebbe here, and the belt is a more accurate color. However, this belt is better made. You have to actually use a bit of string or something to tie this at the back to get it to sit at the right level. If you don't do that, then it's going to sit up here somewhere. So I mean, it's an easy fix. It's never bothered me because you never see the back of him anyway once the cape's on. There's a custom velvet black cape, really enhances the piece. So we'll get a look at the cowl here. Great likeness to Christian Bale on the Entebbe. I do really like the sculpt of the cowl, got no complaints with it. It is slightly different to the Hot Toys version. Let me just push these two closer together. There we go. You guys can see everything you need to see. Yeah, the thickness of the neck is thicker on the
Hot Toys one. Not that it's not thick enough on the Entebbe, it's just slightly different. It will look different in the movie depending on whether, you know, Christian Bale's got his head straight, just looking forward, whether he's slightly looking down. That will compress the neck and make it look thicker. But yeah, two totally different finishes on the suit. You can go ahead and pause this and get your screenshots if you want. There you go. Alright, bases are basically exactly the same height. So that's those two side by side. Yep, definitely prefer the Entebbe mouth plates, but the paint apps you can see around the eyes, even though they are a more accurate colour, they look very blue here. They're not that blue in person, don't know why the camera does that, but definitely a more advanced paint app on the Hot Toys. The cowl and the eyes definitely look better on the Hot Toys, but the mouth plates I definitely prefer from the Entebbe, which thank God you can actually swap around with the Hot Toys if you wish. So there is the Beast and the Hot Toys. Still pretty much my favourite, the Entebbe. Just has a presence. Give you a quick side profile just so you can see. Obviously you can see the neck on the Hot Toy is definitely thicker than the Entebbe, but I do love both sculpts. No complaints with either one really, just depends on what kind of mood you're in. But definitely a beefier chest on the Hot Toys. That chest section definitely sticks out more, where the Entebbe is kind of very flat and flush. Go. Let me just take the cape here, put it over his shoulder if I can. There you go. Just reveal the suit. Now that sort of seam that you're seeing going down the arm there, that's actually movie accurate. If you watch the Cape and Cowl special features on the Blu-ray, DVD, or on YouTube, it's called Cape and Cowl Batman Begins. You'll see that that's how the actual mold for the suit came out, and they had to cut away with scissors. They actually had to, you know, remove the flash themselves. So that's never bothered me because that's actually how the suit was. Whereas the Hot Toys one, totally smooth, no line down the arm. Now people may prefer that, but that is actually accurate. So there's your side profile shot. That should pretty much take care of that. Let's just get the NECA Batman Begins up here, and that should be the end of the comparisons. Alright, now here is the NECA on the right, and obviously the Hot Toys on the left. Just trying to get the Hot Toys to mimic the pose that the NECA figure is doing here. Obviously the NECA figure has big ass joints in his arms, so you were able to pull off poses like this and not have to worry about any damage happening to the suit. But the Hot Toys one, that's about as close as I can get the arms to kind of replicate what the NECA one is doing. Obviously the NECA, you know, paint apps and face are not going to come close to, you know, the high-end detail of Hot Toys and Entebbe. But if you did see the score video where I, you know, compared all three 1/4 scale Batman Begins figures, NECA actually came out on top as far as points go, thanks to the very accurate gauntlets, the great effort NECA put into the cape, and the proportions of the body and posability. So those are the categories that this took home with it. Absolutely awesome piece by NECA. But considerably cheaper. I mean, this is about £100 or $110, something like that, compared to, I don't even know how much this is going to be going for the rest of you guys. I had to get mine early from Hong Kong. I pre-ordered it with James Owen, so the price wasn't actually that bad. Paid for this quite a long time ago, along with the Dark Knight Joker as well, so that'll be getting reviewed once that gets released. But, you know, you've got the ugly ass gauntlet situation there. So holding up the arms in a kind of fighting pose is only going to reveal the hideous gauntlets. So I wouldn't do that, you know. Plus, obviously, you're getting these wrinkles in the suit. Can't imagine that would be good long term. Probably a warning in there somewhere in the instructions about not doing this for very long. So you're basically going to have to just leave them in a museum pose, maybe holding onto accessories, something like that. Maybe get yourself a custom cape. Even just moving the arms has made the magnets, the cape clips, kind of lift up. That fell off about 3 times just from me lifting up his arms. So that doesn't mean that this is a write-off, and if you've pre-ordered it, you need to be, you know, crying yourself to sleep tonight. It's a fine-looking piece, and with a little bit of work, maybe figuring out a way to get a custom cape on there, this could be just an amazing-looking Batman Begins collectible. Obviously, the groin grabber damaging the groin area is a major kick in the nuts. So, yeah, just another little problem, as usual, with these things. It's very rare that you get something that's perfect and just, you know, a dream to work with and no problem to display and pose. There's always something with these things. Someone did leave me a comment saying, could I try making him look a little bit more natural when he's standing? He looks very rigid. Maybe it was the arm position, but especially this arm, you can never really get it to do what this arm is doing. See, this one's kind of just coming straight down and looks quite natural the way it's, you know, just falling by his side. This one is always like this. You can try turning it as much as you want. You can totally straighten the arm and then he just looks weird. And if you put that slight bend in and then try to turn it, it just goes back to how it was again. So one arm on this guy is always slightly turning outwards, and that's annoying. So, you know, what are you going to do? Let's put the accessories on the belt and start putting bit by bit on him, and we'll see how he looks once he's all tooled up to the max. I think his phone sort of clips onto the back of his belt somewhere, unless there is somewhere on here already for the phone to clip onto. I've been just trying to figure out how to put that on there. You can see all the batarangs are on there. That's really cool. Good system how the accessories go on the belt. But I found these 2 bits. I've tried putting the phone into these, but it's too small. It doesn't fit. It just drops straight out again. That's just another one of those. So I don't think there's a way to put the phone on the belt. Maybe he's just meant to hold that in his hand. Could be wrong, but that's just what I'm finding at the moment. You can remove the cartridge from the grapnel gun and then take this piece. Obviously that attaches to the belt, and that is the cartridge there, and then you would just put that on there, and then you can have this at the back, round the back there, just like in the film. In The Dark Knight, in the first bit in the garage, you see that he now has it on the side hanging down, but in Batman Begins it was at the back of the belt. So you can do that. Oops. So apparently these are magnetized. Just see how that works. Well, that just fits in there snug as a bug. Yeah, really cool that this little bit here moves up and down. See that? Up and down, up and down. Nice little detail. Do like the color too, but it looked black in the movie, but yeah, what do I know? I've only seen it like 60 times. Right, we've still got a fair few accessories here on the desk, a few spare bits and pieces, but I've pretty much fully loaded up his belt now. Took off the cape so you can see everything. Everything attaches very easily. I think I've kind of got the grapnel gun in the right place. It might be supposed to be dead center. You'll have to forgive me on that one, but it's on there nice and sturdy. You can easily reach around and grab that when he needs to. But yeah, I like the way the accessories are done. Would have been nice if everything was die-cast metal, but I kind of understand it'd probably be pretty tricky to do some of these in die-cast detail-wise, but who knows how it all works. All these years, and it's still a mystery how they actually make these things. Anyway, there you go. There's your accessories on the belt. So let me just give you some pros and cons off the top of my head, just to help some of you guys make a little bit more of an informed decision on whether or not to put down the money on something like this, because it's not cheap. Now, pros. Incredible detail, great likeness to Christian Bale, very accurate cowl sculpt to Batman Begins, and a really nice looking suit, regardless of whether it's supposed to be shiny or matte. Nice belt, great accessories. You're either going to love or hate the base. The cape does look nice. They have tried replicating the animal-like velvet look on the outside and the kind of satin waterproof look on the inside. So that's quite nice, but like most Batman Begins fans, they're going to want the option to bring the cape around, which you really can't do because you can see that's your limit. It just goes that way. Now the thing that they should have done, because they put pleats into the cape here, sorry. See these 1, 2, 3 lines? Those are pleated to, I don't know why, because that's never been done on a Batman Begins figure, and it's not necessary. It's not the way it's supposed to be. You can actually see, if you follow the line on this side of the cape clip, if you follow that line down, that's where the cape should be. The cape should be doing what it's doing, but it shouldn't stop here and go like that with pleats. It should follow this line and be able to come round the suit. So, if I can figure that out, I don't work for a company. I'm just a fan of the character. I collect these figures. It's a head scratcher why nobody in, R&D or whatever you want to call it at Hot Toys could not think of that. NECA did it. Entebbe did it. There may be other companies. I haven't seen the Mafex figure. It's only small, but I haven't really paid much attention to that one. But I'll tell you right now, the cape should follow this line and come across here, not go back like that. And if it did come down the way it's supposed to, you could always just put it over the shoulder and achieve this look that they're forcing you to have on a high-end collectible. You can probably tell by my tone I'm a little bit pissed off about that. And as well I should be, because this is supposed to be... They've had so many attempts. They've done 1, 2, 3... They've done 3 1/6 scale Batman Begins figures, Hot Toys. 3 of them. And you think by the 4th attempt, blowing it up to 1/4 scale, the price that they cost, they could have perfected it by now. So I don't know. I don't want to be insulting, so I'll just leave it at that. But it does make you wonder. Any other pros? The boots are nice. Good sturdy material used. Doesn't really attract dust. Does a little bit. It does attract a little bit more dust than the Entebbe, I find. Only had it for about 3 days, but it's still pretty clean. I have never cleaned it yet or done anything like that, so it's still, holding up okay as far as dust goes. So yeah, good likeness to Bale. Great sculpt for the cowl, very accurate looking. Suit, proportions very nicely done. It's got a very shiny finish to it, which to be honest it really shouldn't have if you've seen the beginning of this video. The cape looks kind of nice, but they're forcing you to have it over his shoulders, revealing the whole suit, and you're never going to be able to achieve the classic Batman Begins, wrapped around him kind of look. Mind you, to be fair, it is over his shoulder there, but you know what I mean. The kind of look that I rock with the Entebbe one. See that? That's what you should be able to do. Cons. Well, we'll be here a while. Cons. No moving eyes for some bizarre reason, probably just laziness. You should be able to move the eyes. Entebbe gave you 3 different heads. You couldn't move the eyes, but they gave you 3 separate Batman cowls, all with different eye positions. One looking to the left, one looking to the right, one looking straight forward. So you need that option, especially with Batman Begins, because you want to be able to tilt that head down, get him looking off to the side, bring that cape around, get him looking like he's about to pounce. Because this thing is animalistic, aggressive, demonic, majestic, regal, whatever you want to call it. I love the Batman Begins suit. It's absolute perfection to me, and it pisses me off when people don't pay it the proper respect it deserves. Other cons. Yes, shiny suit. The gauntlets are not as black and shiny as they should be. They're nice and hard. The spikes, very sharp, but I do not like this. I just can't get it to lay flush. No matter what I do, I've tried and tried. There's always a gap, and I'm sure 99% of you hate that. And the base, a lot of people would call this cheap looking and tacky. And I would agree with you, but because you can so blatantly tell it's from Batman Begins and it's my favorite film, I kind of don't mind. I mean, it screams Batman Begins, there's no mistaking it, so I kind of like that. And obviously a major con is the stupid choice to have this groin grabber here, and it's rubbing the surface off the suit, and you can see there that is doing damage every second that it's touching. So yeah, that's about all I can think of for now. I don't know how long this review is going to be. I've got a feeling we're going to be clocking in at least an hour by this point. So I showed you the articulation. I really don't feel like posing him up too much, to be honest. You can imagine he holds his arm out a certain amount. He's going to be holding the grapnel gun. The head doesn't move very much, so I can't really have him holding his arm out this direction and looking in that direction because his eyes don't move. So you can get him to hold things, but he's always going to be kind of just standing, looking forward, looking awesome, no doubt about it, definitely looking awesome. And if you've never had a 1/4 scale Batman Begins and you've decided to go for this one, I can't see you being that disappointed. I know that I'm telling you a bunch of things that are annoying, little missteps here and there, but I am a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to this suit. So I think a lot of you guys would be very happy with this, and you would be willing to forgive some of the stuff. Obviously, you can't forgive something like that situation with the suit getting damaged from the stand. That is pretty much unforgivable. But, yeah, some of you may not be bothered about the cape situation, and you might be quite happy with this. Remember what I told you before, these are in the completely wrong position. It may be possible to get your finger under the suit and move the magnets into a better position like you can do on the Entebbe, which is really easy because you may not be happy with it where the cape clips are on the Entebbe figure, but you can get your finger under and move the magnets yourself and put them wherever you want. Be careful though if you're going to do that because you don't want to lose the magnet. So yeah, let me just take a breath here, make myself a cup of tea, and I'll give you my final thoughts. This is what they did on Toys TV in order to achieve the cape wrapping around him look. Looks really good, doesn't it? Yep, that's Hot Toys' answer. So you just basically grab a chunk of cape and just go bleh. And there you go. There's your moody Batman on a building look. God damn. That is not good. Yeah, that looks better. That looks much better. Oh well. And the thing is, because the cape clips are part of the cape itself, you would have to, if you do decide to go the custom route, you're going to have to cut that away permanently and use these weak-ass magnet cape clips in order to hold it in place. I wish the magnets were stronger, but they're not. So the Hot Toys 1/4 scale Batman Begins, is it Hot Toys' best Batman figure to date? Absolutely not. That title, I believe, would either go to the Hot Toys 1/4 scale Dark Knight Rises Batman, which is almost flawless. That's the one really. I mean, if you're only going to get one 1/4 scale Batman, even though I much prefer the suit from Batman Begins, and if it has to be Hot Toys, that's the one. In 1/6 scale, that Ben Affleck Batman, I believe, is probably one of the very best Batman figures that Hot Toys have made. Now that is a custom cape, and I have done many mods to this. They're all on the channel, so you can check that out, but I do believe in 1/6 scale, this is the best Batman by Hot Toys, and in 1/4 scale, I think this is the best. Also, the Nightmare Batman is an exceptional piece. Now that is a custom coat on him, it's more screen accurate, but the one he came with was very nice too, but that should be included, I think, as one of Hot Toys' best Batman figures. And even the the armored one is very accurate looking. That one doesn't pose the best in the world. They really improved upon that with the battle damage version.
So that's another really good piece. Another one there, very similar obviously to this one, same body, same posability, very, very good. But I did rework this one and change it into the Batman that had become the Joker. Gory. That's on the channel, check it out. As is all of these figures, all have reviews and in-depth videos, so you can check them out at your leisure. Just make sure I show you all the different mouth plates. So one more time, that's the neutral expression. Some different angles. Go ahead and pause it if you like. Very nice. Let me just turn him to the side. There we go. Very, very well detailed. Absolutely fantastic. I do like the way the kind of makeup look around his eyes. It's not as jet black as like the cowl, for instance. You can see a little bit of skin tone starting to come through there. So that's very impressive. Let me just see if I can take this out. It's quite easy to remove the mouth plates and drop them. Yeah, there you go. Don't forget, like I mentioned before, I did do a video where I tried all the Entebbe mouth plates in this guy and it looked incredible, so do make sure you go back and check that out. There is your mid-sentence kind of Elvis Presley sneer kind of face. I do like it. Bit of a weird choice. I mean, this would have been like a nice extra option if they had given you like 4 mouth plates. Then that would be pretty nice to have that. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Just turn him around. Yeah, it is nice. I remember there was a blogger picture where he was holding the phone up to his mouth and speaking from the side profile. I think you probably know the one I'm talking about. And this mouth plate was the one being used and it looked really, really good. Let me just get in there on those teeth. Yep, quite impressive. Let's take this one out. As you can see, very easy to do. It is magnet based, but it's a very weak magnet. Sorry if you can see spaghetti on my hands. I just had me some dinner. There is the, I presume, the swear to me mouth plate. I mean, I guess that's what they were going for. His teeth are super, super clean. I suppose he would be because he's all like Hollywood, but you know. Yeah, there's your teeth and the tongue. Even got some back teeth in there. I said back teeth, not back teeth. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But I do prefer the Entebbe mouth plates for sure. Alright, well there you go. There's all 3 of those. Well, just in case you can't be bothered to go look at the video where I switched the Entebbe mouth plates, I have the Hot Toys neutral and the Entebbe neutral. So let's just get a look here at both of them. Different skin tone, very, very similar lips, but you can see little details like just around the Entebbe mouth, those little lines. You'd be surprised, it makes the world of difference. This is very accurate though, because in certain scenes, there's a moment in the 3rd act when Batman first comes back to help Gordon, and he looks quite chubby. I'm sure those of you who are obsessed as I am will know exactly the moment I'm talking about. Right before he says, "Can you drive stick?" He looks very much the way he does here. So that is very accurate looking, but I just prefer the get out, come on, get out, there you go. Alright, let's push in the Entebbe mouth plate. Now, it's not as deep as the Hot Toys ones. You can see they're a lot deeper, big old clumpy section there behind, and the Entebbe one much flatter, but it does let me just try and do this one-handed. It's a bit tricky. Nope. Alright, sorry, I had to put a pause in there because that was just really hard to do with one hand. But that is how it looks with the neutral expression from Entebbe. Yeah, looks good. The grumpy face by Entebbe is the one that I really, really like on this cowl. So go ahead on the other video and check that out for yourself. But there you go, just a little mouth plate switch between Hot Toys and Entebbe. That looks pretty sweet. In my absolute honest opinion, I think if you really do want a 1/4 scale Batman Begins, I still think the Entebbe Batman is the best one. Even though, like I've said many times now in these videos, this has things that are better than the Hot Toys, and the Hot Toys one has things that are better than this. It goes back and forth. but I just think the likeness to Bale, 3 different cowls, so if anything goes wrong with one of them, say you drop it and scratch the paint or something and you're just broken hearted, at least you've still got another 2 to work with, and a Bruce Wayne head. The finish of the suit is absolutely amazing, perfect. Get yourself a custom velvet cape on eBay. I don't know how readily available they are these days, but I did find one on there some years back. Also tried making my own a few times. I don't know where they are right now. They're probably in a box somewhere. I think it would be wonderful if either Jackson XU or Unreal Customs could somehow make cape clips for the Batman Begins to go on the Hot Toys figure, and then obviously make a nice big velvet cape, and then the combination of making the velvet cape and making the cape clips would take this figure to a whole new level. The main thing I think that bugs me about this is that cape and how it doesn't continue, like I said before, down this line here, allowing you to just do whatever you want with the cape. So those of you that have already pre-ordered this, I don't think you're going to be majorly disappointed. I don't think half of you guys out there are obsessed with the Batman Begins suit as I am. I want it to be perfect. And to be honest, the perfect Batman Begins figure doesn't exist. You've got to kind of mix and match and mod and do little tricks to try and get there. I'm very, very close to perfection with my Enter Bay Batman now. And I think as the weeks, the months, maybe even the years roll by, I'll do certain things to this to take it to a higher level, and I'll keep you updated on that as the time goes by. But I wouldn't say, feel disappointed if you've got this on the way after seeing this review. I am just, one guy and his opinion. Everyone else will have different opinions. You can see that from the comments below. It is a fine looking piece. Just needs a little bit of work, a few missteps that are quite frustrating, as I mentioned before, but nothing game breaking. It's still a very, very cool looking figure. And anything else I've forgotten to tell you or neglected to show, I'll go ahead and do that soon in another video, but I think that's pretty much everything. I know I didn't pose him much, but this really isn't a figure that you should do that with, to be honest. Straight up the truth. He can do poses, but he's not supposed to be left like that for any longer than a few minutes, really. So, because his eyes don't move, can't really have him holding his arm out with the grapnel gun, because he'll just be holding his arm out that direction or that direction, and he'll just be looking straight forward. So there's really not much point, and this review has already gone on for quite some time already. But he is a fine looking figure. Definitely one of the best Batman Begins collectibles out there. Just needs a little work. So I would say, just make your own decision, guys. Take everything I've said on board and try and make your own decision. I can't tell you what to do. I wouldn't presume to be informed enough to do that anyway. I'm just sharing with you my thoughts on this new release. But definitely a fine looking piece from Hot Toys, but certainly not perfect. I would give it a 4 out of 5. Yeah, any less than that just feels a little bit too harsh. But yeah, it's a 4 out of 5 figure. Could have easily been bumped up to a 5 with just those little things taken into consideration. If the cape did what it was supposed to do, cape clips were in the right position, the stand didn't damage the suit, then I think we'd pretty much be looking at a 5 out of 5 right here. But I still honestly do think the Enter Bay Batman, once you do the little mods that need to be done, well, just put a custom cape on it, I think he's still the ultimate, and the beast has not been defeated. Alright guys, thanks for watching. It's been a long one. I'm going to go get started on the editing. Probably going to take a while. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments, and thank you for all your support on the videos on the Batman so far, and I'll see you real soon. Follow me on Instagram, DKnight333. Check me out on Patreon if you want, and I'll see you real soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye.